All right, today we're going to tackle a really important piece of legislation in India, the Protection of Children from Sexual Offenses Act. You've probably heard it called the POCSO Act of 2012. Now, this isn't just another dry legal document. Think of it more like a comprehensive protective shield built specifically for children. So let's see exactly how this shield works. You know, right from the get-go, in its opening statement, the Act sets this incredibly powerful tone. This one line is basically its North Star. Every single rule, every procedure we're about to talk about, it all comes back to this one fundamental idea. The child's well-being is the absolute top priority, no exceptions. So to really get how this shield is put together, we're going to walk through 5 key parts. First, we'll look at the core principles, the very heart of the law. Then we'll get into the specific offenses it protects against. After that, we'll see how you actually activate the shield through reporting, what happens inside its unique child-first courtroom, and finally, what keeps the whole system working and strong. Okay, so let's start with the foundation of the shield itself. The POCSO Act isn't just about punishment after something terrible has happened. Not at all. It was designed as a complete system, one that aims to protect, to help heal, and to deliver justice in a way that puts the child victim first and foremost above everything else. The first and maybe the most important definition here is incredibly simple and crystal clear. Under this law, a child is any person below the age of 18. That's it. This broad, unambiguous definition is so critical because it means the law's protections cover all young people, leaving absolutely no room for confusion or gray areas. Now, any good shield has different layers, right? Each one designed to stop a specific kind of threat. Well, the POCSO Act is built in exactly the same way. It carefully defines different types of offenses, creating these distinct layers of legal protection against very specific kinds of harm. You can see the law creates this clear ladder of offenses based on how severe they are. It starts with sexual harassment, which can even include non-physical things like words or gestures. Then it steps up to sexual assault, which is defined by sexual touching without penetration. And finally, you have penetrative sexual assault, which is the most severe category. And just look at how the minimum punishments climb. They jump up significantly as the crime gets more serious. But here's where the act gets even smarter and tougher. It recognizes that who the perpetrator is really matters. It says that when a crime is committed by someone a child is supposed to be able to trust, that crime is far more serious. This creates a special category known as aggravated offenses. And the law is super specific about who fits into this position of trust category. We're talking about police officers, soldiers, hospital staff, teachers, basically people who have professional authority. But, and this is so important, the list also includes relatives. This acknowledges the heartbreaking truth that sometimes the greatest danger comes from inside the very circle a child is taught to trust the most. So what happens when someone in one of those positions commits the worst possible crime under this act? The minimum punishment for aggravated penetrative sexual assault is 20 years. 20. And in some cases, that can go all the way up to life imprisonment or even the death penalty. This number, it's not just a sentence. It's a powerful statement about how seriously the law takes a breach of that sacred trust. Okay, so defining the crimes is one thing. But how does the legal process actually get started? This next part is all about how that protective shield gets activated. We're moving from the what into the how, the practical steps of actually reporting a case. And that's the key question, isn't it? A law is only as strong as its ability to be used. So how does a worry or a suspicion or a direct complaint get turned into an official case that can actually bring all of these protections into play? The process is actually designed to be clear and, crucially, fast. It kicks off when anyone, and I mean anyone, reports information to the local police or a special police unit for juveniles. The report has to be written down and then read back to the person who reported it to make sure it's accurate. Then, and this is vital, within 24 hours, the Child Welfare Committee has to be informed, and immediate steps must be taken to make sure the child is safe. The absolute focus is on immediate protection. And this reveals one of the most powerful features of the entire act. The duty to protect a child isn't just on the family or the police, it's on all of us. Under this law, any person who knows or even suspects that an offense is happening has a legal duty to report it. If you don't, you can be punished. This basically turns all of us from potential bystanders into an active part of that protective shield. So, a case has been reported. The shield is activated. Now the process moves into the courtroom. But I want you to forget what you think a normal courtroom looks like, because a PSO courtroom is fundamentally different. This is where we really see that child-first idea in action, completely reshaping the judicial environment. See, the law doesn't just use the existing court system. It demands the creation of special courts in every single district. And the goal here is twofold. First, speed, to make sure the child doesn't have to go through the trauma of a long, drawn-out trial. And second, to create a child-friendly atmosphere, to ensure that the process of getting justice doesn't cause even more harm. And the level of detail here is just incredible. The trials are private, not in some big open court. The child never has to physically face the accused while they're giving testimony. They might use a screen or a video link. When police take a statement, they can't be in their uniform, so it's less intimidating. The court also shuts down any aggressive questioning, makes sure the child gets plenty of breaks, and puts a strict ban on the media revealing the child's identity. Every single detail is designed to dial down the fear and the trauma. Let's just put this side by side for a second, because the difference is like night and day. A standard criminal trial can be a terrifying public ordeal for anyone, let alone a child. The POSO trial flips that completely on its head. It transforms the courtroom from a place of potential re-traumatization into a protected space designed from the ground up for the child's safety and dignity. A great law can't just be written down and forgotten about. You need systems in place to make sure it's actually being used correctly and that people even know it exists. So this final section is all about the mechanisms built right into the POCSO Act to keep that shield strong and effective. One of the smartest things about this act is that it doesn't just assume people will learn about it. It actually puts a legal requirement on the government to actively run public awareness campaigns. They have to use TV, radio, newspapers, whatever it takes to make sure that children, parents, and the general public all know their rights and their responsibilities under this law. And for accountability, well, the Act sets up a very clear chain of command for oversight. You've got the national and state commissions for the protection of child rights, and their job is to monitor how this law is being put into practice on the ground. They're basically the watchdogs, making sure that the shield is really working the way it's supposed to in every corner of the country. So we've seen the whole framework, the definitions, the rules, the courtroom procedures. The Act itself provides this powerful, brilliantly designed shield. But a shield doesn't lift itself, does it? Which leaves us with the final and most critical question. What's the role of our communities, our schools, of each and every one of us in making sure the shield is held up to protect every single child?